You're listening to the Am Writing Fantasy podcast. In today's publishing landscape, you can reach fans all over the world. Query letters are a thing of the past. You don't even need a literary agent. There is nothing standing in the way of making a living from writing. Join two best-selling authors who have self-published more than 20 books between them. Now, on to the show with your hosts, Autumn Burt and Jesper Schmidt.
Hello, I'm Jesper.
And I'm Autumn.
This is episode 119 of the Am Writing Fantasy podcast, and it is time for one of our alternating lists again. One of those not so serious episodes, so we hope that you will enjoy as we enter the world of the worst stories ever told.
I'm looking forward to this one, which is funny because when you first mentioned it, I said, I don't know how I'm going to do on this one, but I might have found a secret weapon that I'd forgotten about.
Really? What's that? I want to know.
Well, have you ever heard of Mystery Science Theater?
No, I'm not sure. No.
Oh, well, I'll tell you all about it and why it's my ace in the hole, and I'm going to so blow you out of the water on this one when we get there.
Well, okay, let's see. But I actually have some surprises lined up as well. So
this will be good.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. I'm gonna impress you.
I was gonna say this. Maybe good is not the right term. This will be so bad.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to
impress
it.
you with how bad it's gonna be.
Excellent. I cannot wait. All right. Well, how are things over in Denmark?
Well, for one, we've had sunshine today.
Excellent.
So that's a good start. And I'm also expecting to start refereeing next weekend, I hope.
Wow.
I actually, last weekend, I did do under 15s match.
Nice.
But senior soccer should pick up again this coming weekend, I hope. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're getting out of some corona restrictions that makes all our lives a nightmare. So that's good.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And speaking about corona restrictions, we actually managed to go to IKEA last Saturday. And normally I would really not be excited about going to IKEA, but the thing is that since we moved into the apartment, we've had quite some furniture that we needed to deliver back to IKEA. But then IKEA closed. They closed, and we were stuck with it here in the apartment because we couldn't go anywhere or deliver it back. And we also have like one wall in the bedroom that is still filled up with moving boxes because we need to deliver the stuff back to IKEA, and then we needed to buy a new piece of furniture so we could empty all those boxes and put it in to a cabinet. But we couldn't do all of that, so we've been waiting for like 3 months. But finally...
Yes, it's December. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, indeed. So finally last Saturday they reopened so we could get it. We still had to book time and all that stuff in order to be able to go inside a warehouse where there's like 10 people in this humongous place. But nevertheless, we managed, and we actually got our stuff delivered back and bought the new stuff and took that with us home. So when Easter holidays comes up here quite soon, I know what I have to do. I have to put IKEA stuff back together again, which is not my favorite thing to do, but at least we're done then after that.
Yeah, like I said, I wish you were closer. I love building things. You saw me building my cabin that we're staying in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to help out building things, but it's kind of, I can't quite make the flight, even though things are improving slowly in the U.S. They're saying, my husband signed me up for our coronavirus vaccination. So I'm like, that's exciting that they got to my age bracket. It's not the bottom of the bracket, so it's close.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad when your number comes up. It's like, is this because they think either I'm old or they think that there's something wrong with me, so we better vaccinate this person? Because it's just like, what's going on? Yes.
Well, they had already put it down to 16-year-olds, but you had to have one of these certain listed health things. And I'm like, nope. I'm perfectly fine, but I'm older than 16. But they finally opened it up to my age group. So that's exciting. That means I might be able to see my parents sometime.
So you have a date for it already? Do you know
Not
when
yet.
it's gonna? No.
No, it'll be sometime in April.
In April. Okay. I haven't even been told about it yet when I'm gonna get any vaccines.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll see. But hopefully within the next couple of months then.
Yeah,
But
my parents have gotten theirs, and they've been out to breweries. You know, everyone's space. It sounds like they're out and about all everywhere, but you know, the tables are really far. There's like, if there's 3 other people in the entire room with them, it's amazing. Usually they're taking pictures and it's empty, but they've been out and going to get draft beers and taking photos, and I'm just like, yeah, but I go too.
yeah. Yeah, we've all had enough of this stuff by now. So for sure we need to I think everybody's looking forward to get to the other side of it. My biggest fear is just because they're starting to open up now. So my biggest fear is just that it'll happen like it did last time. They started to open up, and then like 3-4 weeks later they shut it all down again. If they do that, I think people will get pretty damn upset because people are just fed up with it.
Yeah, especially with the spring, you know, now it's almost spring here and
Yeah.
summer rolling out. If they shut everything down for the summer, I think there would be a revolution here. Just don't do it. Let them go.
Yeah, we've had enough.
Yes.
Yeah. But otherwise, everything good on your end?
Yeah, lots of covers and writing and reading and all that kind of stuff, but overall mostly just working on my laptop because it's still only in the 40s, which I can't think what that would be in Celsius, but it's just above, you know, a little bit above freezing. So it looks beautiful and it feels so warm, and you go outside and about 15 minutes later you're like, I need something warm to drink. So it's looking inviting. Almost all the snow is gone, but it is still spring and very early here. But it's exciting to see the water running in the stream again and see ground and all those good things.
A week on the internet with the AmWritingFantasy podcast.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have something you want to share in this section, Autumn, but I'm just going to keep it very brief, but I just wanted to check if you had something first before I do that.
Nothing too exciting. It's been so busy, and I've been working on Instagram, working on how to do Instagram and all these other things, but something specifically to the podcast, nothing to share with authors yet, but I'm working on a few things.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm also just going to keep it very brief. Just a small thing here. I just wanted to say that, well, speaking to the listener, if you enjoy the AmWritingFantasy podcast, the best thing you can really do for us is to tell another author friend about it. We are still in the process of growing our listenership here, so we would really like for a lot more people to find us. So if you like this podcast, why not tell an author friend about it? And you will be helping us out, and you will also help out the person who you are telling about a great podcast to listen to. So it's sort of like a win-win situation that doesn't cost you anything. On the contrary, you're probably going to get a lot of gratitude in return. So yeah, I just wanted to remind that that's a really small and easy thing that you can do that it will actually mean quite a lot for us.
Absolutely. Come share us, join us, and help spread the word. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. So with that being said, should we just dive straight in?
I think so, because this one, we have worse stories. I have plots, and we both have 5 each to see, and we are trying to figure out which one's the worst of the worst, so I think we better get into it.
And on to today's topic.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting.
It will be.
I think when I started building my list here, initially I wanted to only make picks of stuff that I had read or seen, but as it turned out, I think I'm pretty good at avoiding bad stories. So
you don't force yourself through them?
So I admit that I had to pick some stuff that I haven't actually read or watched, but it just sounds so horrible that I added them to the list anyway. But I will say that basically more or less all of it, I do have some sort of connection to it. So it's not something I just picked at random, But I will, as we go through, I will say what I have seen and what I have not seen to make it clear. But what I did do is that I only picked movies, because then I can play some sound clips as we go along.
Oh, you are such a cheater. I only picked movies too, but I did not go and get sound clips. Actually, the movies, I don't know if I could have found sound clips unless I rewatched them. But I have seen all 5 that I'm going to be sharing. And hinted earlier, I could have shared 14, actually. So 50, a total of 15, because one of them isn't. Because I've watched 2 seasons of something that is called Mystery Science Theater. And you're going to love the story behind this. Since
But
you
it sounds
haven't
like,
heard it.
but if it's so bad, why did you watch 2 seasons of it?
Because that's the point. So it's a show. It's Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's actually called. It's a show that uses the premise of showing
So wait a
most...
minute. So is this your first entry on the list?
No, this is just a setup of how bad my entries are going to be.
Okay, go for it.
The setup is that they're showing the most horrible movies ever in an attempt to melt the mind of a research subject / prisoner. There's a hostage. And to keep his sanity, he has made these robot companions that watch them. They're inflicted with this movie with him, and they're just sitting there making snide comments about the movies the entire time. And this is huge. This has a cult following. It is so popular that they actually ran a Kickstarter campaign to get Netflix to do 14 extra shows. So it's series. So I've watched series 11 and 12, which were put out on Netflix. All 14 of them, they're just some of the worst shows that you need to have some popcorn, a beer, and a sense of humor, and you will die laughing and groaning at the same time. So good luck beating me on this one.
Oh my god.
Can't wait.
It does not sound very good, no.
They're fantastically horrible. I mean, there's no other. I cannot wait to tell you about them.
No, indeed, yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see who comes up with the worst stuff, because it's really about, it has to be so bad that you like almost prefer to, no, I won't say that, but you'll prefer to do something really horrible to yourself instead, just to avoid watching it. It has to be that bad.
I've got it. My number 1. It's fantastic. I cannot wait.
No, I don't like your confidence. You have way too much confidence going into this list.
I have an ace in the hole.
Normally you're a bit more relaxed, like, yeah, we'll see, kind of, let's see, let's just go through. And now you're just like, you're way too confident. I don't like this. Maybe, should we change the subject for today?
Sure,
do something else?
I'm better at just shifting on the fly. You're going to be the one left in the dust, so whatever you want to do. I will win this one.
Well, okay, I think we have jointly agreed that all the past ones I have won. So if you win one time, maybe I can give you that. But still, I know I'm going to win this one. Mines are too bad. Too bad picks that you just can't beat them.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have one of the same ones. Wouldn't that be funny? But we'll see. I think we need to get started, though. So what shall we start with? Obviously, least worst to worst. I take it.
Yeah, I think I organized mine so that it goes from, let me just do a quick check on my list here. I don't know if mine are organized. No, because mine are so incredibly bad, all of them, that it does not matter which order you take them in. They can beat all of yours, no problem. So they're just in random order, mine.
Okay, mine are from least worst to worst. So I did my homework. I watched 15 shows.
You watched 15 shitty shows in preparation for a podcast.
I was born for this one. Let's go. I will humbly let you go first.
Okay, so I have a short audio clip for you here first. Are you ready?
Go for it.
I got something on my radar. Looks like a fog bank, and it's moving straight toward us.
What kind of fog moves against the wind?
So based on what you just heard, you might be able to guess what it is. I don't know, maybe not.
Guessing Pacific Rim?
No, Pacific Rim is pretty good. What do you mean?
It's not on my list, but there's better movies out there.
Yeah, there is, but it's definitely not on the list of the worst movies
ever. Okay, so what was that one?
So this one is The Fog from 2005.
I did not see that one.
No, well, be happy that you didn't.
I don't know. I seem to enjoy really bad movies. So.
It's a reboot of a movie from 1980. And I only watched this 2005 version, so I don't know about the original ones. But this is one of those cases where you see the premise of the movie, and then you think, it could be quite interesting. Okay. But you're still a bit skeptical because there's something inside of you telling, like, you know that feeling?
Yeah.
So all the alarm bells are going off in your mind, like warning you that this is probably going to be crap. But then you watch the trailer and it's just like, well, there's something in this sort of setup that I quite like. You know, this whole thing about there's a fog and there's a mystery about something happens and it's dangerous. And I just start thinking, well, maybe you should try to just watch it because it could be good, maybe.
It might be worth a try.
Yeah, so let me just explain what it's about here. Okay. So I just need something to justify why I actually wasted my time watching this movie. Okay. So how does this sound? So we're in a town where the founders got their money by murdering a colony of lepers.
Okay.
And nobody knows about this terrible past. And now we're like 100 years later, where a character returns just as a statue is raised in tribute of the founders. And then comes the fog. And there's something inside the fog.
All right.
Something vengeful.
So a little supernatural.
That doesn't sound too bad, right?
Doesn't sound too bad, no. Could be good.
Well, it was bad. And I went against my better judgment and I watched it and, oh my God, that was stupid. You know, first of all, when you have like teenagers dancing around in bikinis on board an old fishing boat, then you already know that this is not going to be good. Well, and then on top of that, the plot just it just keeps going and going and going and going. It doesn't really add anything to the story at all.
Oh, no.
And then you should think that by the time they spend so much time on adding plot for no real reason, you should think that then at least they would be able to deliver a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
Not.
Oh.
It does not make any sense at the end either. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it here, but why the heck are we suddenly presented with some weird thing that is going on with like some love between a human and a ghost? I mean, in the middle of this sort of horror story, it's like, it's going on here? It's just like, it makes no sense at all.
Oh, I didn't see that one coming at all. No.
That's really... As far as I understood from the critics, there seems to be a consensus as well that the original 1980 version wasn't that good either. So that sort of begs the question to me, like,
why remake it?
How stupid are you when you're recreating something that is bad to begin with? It's just bad on bad. I mean, what? Oh, fuck, that's bad. I don't know. I
got worse, though. Oh, I have so much worse. I cannot wait.
I'm just getting started, okay?
Okay.
But this is a shitty movie, okay? It's really shitty. Don't watch it.
I don't know. It sounds like a good one for a couple of beers and an afternoon of laughing yourself silly.
No, you don't want to do it. No,
okay.
You're going to rip your hair out.
That one. All right. Well, you want to know what my number 5 one? And this is my only one that was not featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay.
So this one is actually 2020 and was produced on Netflix. This is a series. And I've mentioned this one a couple of times, and to you, Cursed. It actually makes my list of horrible shows. So this is a retelling of the Arthurian legend from the viewpoint of Nimue, which is the Lady of the Lake. And so this is set before she becomes the Lady of the Lake, before Arthur meets Merlin. So it's like he's not, like the Sword of the Stone young, but he's a teenager, and it sounds neat because I'm writing a story about Fae, and Nimue is Fae, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be really excited. I'm a little done with Arthurian legends. I've seen way too many, but I love the Fae. This is going to be awesome. No, it was so bad. And I feel bad because the actors and the actresses, there's some really good ones. There's Floki from Vikings is Merlin. There's some really good actors and actresses, and they do their darn best to deliver these characters that you kind of care. But it was it was bad enough that my husband would put this on the nights he just wanted to go to sleep, and I'd be sitting there just trying not to yell at the TV set in anger at the plot holes and the inconsistencies and the jumps that made absolutely no sense, and trying not to wake him up. And it was just really bad. But there are some of the inconsistencies, some of them, and they always, this is a story about the Fae, but for some reason, and it's about Nimue, who's the girl, but for some reason Arthur's the one who's always right, and he's human and male. And it was just so silly. But, some of the silliness, there's a grain mill. All of the grain mills have been killed, but, taken over by the evil king. He's trying to wipe out the Fae, and they're down to one. So whose idea is it to go protect the one? It's Arthur's. How many knights do they send? How many Fae warriors do they send? 5 to go protect the last food supply. And they go, and of course it goes to crap. They burn them out of the mill. The Green Knight and Arthur are almost about to die, but Nimue shows up, who she's magical, but she doesn't really know how to control it, but she manages to save the day. Ta-da! Ta-da! And later on, she claims queenship, though there's never been a Fae queen. She claims queenship because she has the sword of the kings that everyone is hunting for.
Of course.
That's what you do. Even though, and everyone's excited that she claims that she's going to be the queen, even though she has been hiding from them, not collaborating in any of the elder meetings to protect her people. She has sent a letter to the king invading saying, hey, I'll give you back the sword if you let the Fae go. That Arthur's sister, Morgan Le Fay, the sorceress eventually, dictates to her. So this is even her idea. She's done absolutely nothing, but everyone's like, yay, you're queen. I'm like, God, I could not stand it. There was so many plot holes and things, and I'm just like, no. So anyway, it makes my number 5, which is pretty tame. Yeah.
I think I have come across some. I might be confusing it with something else, but I do think I've seen some, some of those trailers running when I log into Netflix and stuff like that about it, and at least it must have looked bad enough that I just steered clear of it because I have not watched any of it.
I haven't recommended to you. This is the only one I could have gotten a sound clip for. I feel so disappointed now, but
yeah. Well, you're probably gonna lose on points because you didn't have sound clips.
Oh, but, all right, sure. We'll see. I've got some doozies that I don't think you can even come close to.
Shit. Okay, I need to up my game.
All right, let's go for dear number 4.
Okay, so brace yourself for this sound clip because this is going to be bad. Okay. You ready?
Detective, we've got a white male, 54 years old.
What happened to him? Must have been into computers, this guy.
Do you want to see more? We have another one.
There are 5 bodies so far.
Oh my God. The one thing that all the victims have in common is the fear sight.
We gotta get
I'm gonna stop it there. It's so fucking ridiculous. You can already hear shit, can't you?
So she saying the only thing they have in common is a parasite?
They visited the fear site.
The fear site. Oh, so they went to a website and it killed them.
And for this one, I actually learned my lesson, so I have not watched it. but the
Okay.
trailer was so bad that just the trailer itself scared me off. And
That's pretty bad.
and initially I checked it out because it said it was from the same director as the House on Haunted Hill.
Right.
Well, actually, when saying that, I just realized that for some people that's probably not a good statement either. But
That's true.
but this movie is Fear.com, it's called.
Okay.
And initially it sort of pulled me in because it had me checking out the trailer and so on because it carries some of the same tropes as The Ring. Did you ever watch The Ring?
I actually have not watched The Ring, but it looked interesting. I only didn't watch it because I wasn't doing horror movies at the time.
No. Yeah, I don't watch many horror movies either, at least not for the last couple of years. Before then, I quite liked a lot of them. But I enjoyed The Ring. The Ring is, in my view, a really good movie. But I have to say that the original, like, I think it's Japanese or something. It's at least Asian originally, and the Asian version is better than the American version. But
And that's
they're
the one
both
I was
good.
thinking of. Yeah, that's the one I
Yeah.
had wanted to see, but it looked actually scary enough, and I was at a point in my life where I thought, I don't need this. No.
No. Yeah, well, it is pretty scary, The Ring, to be honest. But in The Ring, people die from watching a videotape,
Right.
and it is well done, and it is, scary. But so here they've just replaced the videotape with a website. So when you visit this website, then like I don't know what 24 hours later. So I don't know. I haven't watched it, but people die, and
Okay.
well, at least you can see, like, if you align it with some genre tropes, it works, right? Because it got me enticed. I mean, even the title of it is so bad. Like, I mean, already the title, I was very skeptical when I saw the title. Fear.com, I was like, no. But then I could just see, like, the links back to The Ring and stuff. It got me so far that I at least started checking it out. So it's sort of like, on Amazon, if you can align yourself with some tropes, then at least people will start checking it out. Of course, then you shouldn't have a shitty trailer like this one, and then people run away screaming from it. But
That's a good point. Take away. Have good trailers.
But since I haven't watched it myself, I collected some words from the critics.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so this one is from the New York Daily News. So it goes like this, quote, "The story is a mess." This isn't a proper critic, right? The story is a mess. Some of the images offensive, the acting under par, and the dialogue silly, end quote.
It
So
sounds
that
like
was
they
one
love
of them.
it.
Yeah. And how about this one from Metro Times? Quote, "Fear.com is full of inconsistencies and contradictions, but none are more disturbing than the fact that none are more disturbing than the fact that not a single policeman wears gloves at any of the crime scenes scattered throughout the film," end quote.
Oh,
And then my favorite one, my personal favorite one, this is from US Today. Quote, "Fear.com is a cinematic equivalent of spam in your email inbox." End quote.
Ouch.
That hurt.
That hurt. I would not want that review ever. That would be painful. I feel kind of
Yeah.
bad for the person who, someone obviously loved this, and
I don't know if they did, but I mean, when it's so bad that even the trailer scares me off, then it had to go on my top 5. That's horrible.
That is pretty horrible, but you're gonna love my number 4. It's just,
Okay, let's see.
you ready?
I'm not sure you can make it better than this, but let's try.
All right. So she says I don't have sound, but this is, I would have literally had to watch it. This is before trailers and sound clips and all that. But this is called The Beast of Hollow Mountain. I mean, that's a title. That's a good title.
That
And
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's got it all. It has got the lovable orphan boy whose drunk father who's eaten by the beast. It's got a love triangle formed by a Texas cowboy who falls for the wealthy Mexican girl, her betrothed Don Enrique, and the beast, which is a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Okay, I didn't quite see that coming, but okay.
No, in fact, this show
And
is
what age
listed-
are we in here?
I think it was from the 1950s. It is.
No, I mean
Oh.
the movie. When is it set in? Is Is it set in the real world, or is it like a fantasy world?
It's the real world, Texas, sort of like the Zorro, sort of that kind of a time period, that kind of a feel.
With a Tyrannosaurus Rex in that. Okay, and how did that get there?
Well, this show is listed as the first film to show dinosaurs and cowboys in the same picture. So
how did they get that idea?
I don't know, but it's fantastically horrible. And the plot is shocking. The plot is like 100% based on standard tropes, obviously. So the good guy Texas cowboy who just loves the girl. The girl's being forced to marry this guy because her family says, he's wealthy. This is the guy for you. And of course, the man she's marrying is cruel. And the sweet little boy who, his dad's a drunk and he's trying to take care of him and be the adult. And his dad goes and gets eaten by this monster. And what's so sad is I hadn't looked at anything before I watched it, and so I'm waiting on pins and needles thinking this beast of the mountain was going to be a dragon. I mean, it had to be a dragon, and I was
Please
so
give me a dragon.
I know, I was so excited. And then it ends up being this dinosaur, which I agree, it made no sense at all. Just there's this beast, and how that ended up in the mountain, I don't know. But
and they never explained it.
No, they never explained. The best part, though, was the special effects. So this is back in the era of stop motion and like clay animation creatures. It has this crazy tongue that's like, it's hilarious. It's constantly out of its mouth like this like Medusa snake. Oh, I had to wake up. Adam fell asleep for this one too. I had to wake him up and be like, you have to see this. This is
no, how cruel of you. So you're waking him up to see the most shitty movie ever. Oh my god.
You had to see this Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's worth watching just for the way that he did
how cruel.
But it was totally troped to death. I mean, all the way down, no surprises, except for obviously the dinosaur and the cowboy and the Mexican Don. But I mean, the cowboy tries to save his girl, the woman he loves, her fiance, until he gets eaten by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But this made it to number 4 instead of lower because it actually had, besides all the tropes, one good plot point. One of the first scenes is the ranger looking for some lost cows in the swamp. And then they actually end up coming back to the swamp and using the swamp to stop the dinosaurs. Like, oh my god, they actually tied that up. So that was amazing that they tied it up. So why this one made it to number 4. Otherwise, Texan cowboy, missing ranch hands, cows missing, love triangle, orphan boy is so tropey that it's fantastic.
Okay, but I have to deduct a point for the fact that you wake up your husband to look like he's asleep, and then you're waking up to watch the most shitty stuff.
He was watching it with me, and I don't think you can deduct a point unless we brought him in and asked him if it was a good or a bad, because he was laughing as I was looking at these yesterday. He's like, oh my god, I remember that. So
you say that now,
point.
Yeah, everybody can say that.
I think it was fine, but that one was actually not that bad for a really bad movie. It was, the special effect was just fantastic. I absolutely love the dinosaur's tongue.
Yeah, well, it's like the original King Kongs and stuff like that. It also looks so bad.
They do, but in the end, the movies too. I didn't go back that far, but
no, I didn't go back that far either, because then you can always everything was shit.
It's not fair, right?
No, yeah.
All right. Well, that was my.
But so my next one.
All right.
You might actually recognize the voice in this sound clip.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I learned the truth a long time ago. Being afraid of the dark is what keeps most of us alive.
I can't believe it. It's happening again.
Did you recognize the male voice?
Almost, but I just couldn't quite catch it.
It's Christian Slater.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I hear it now, but yeah, okay. So which is this one?
This is Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark. No, I don't think.
And,
What's sad is I swear one of the sentences there is the exact same one they used in the trailer for Pitch Black, which is Vin
it?
Diesel. Yes, but that's a different movie.
Okay.
Anyway.
This is Alone in the Dark, and here's where it's going to get slightly embarrassing. Because
You did watch this one?
no, I did watch it, yes, but I have to admit how incredibly stupid I was, because
Oh no.
this movie is based on a video game, okay?
Okay.
So far so good.
Hmm.
The only problem was that it is actually based on a different video game than I thought it was based on.
Oh.
So
So
I
you went
was
completely unprepared.
completely. So I went into this thinking that this was a movie based on a video game that I loved to play when I was a child. I really liked it. And then I started watching this movie, and I was like, "This makes no sense. I really don't understand how are they." And it took me quite a while before I figured out that this is something completely different. It's just
It was two different video games.
completely, and they have nothing to do with each other. But and then I tried later on. I tried to figure out what was that game called then that I actually liked playing, because I clearly remember it as it is called Alone in the Dark. That game.
Right.
But then when I looked Alone in the Dark up on the internet, then I can see it's a different game. So it is not the same one. And I still haven't worked out what the one that I wanted to watch was then. So I ended up watching this movie that has nothing to do with what I wanted.
Right.
And I was in for the most shitty experience ever, because you're basically following like a supernatural detective who uncovers a long-lost tribe who worship demons. And of course, demons are then attempting to re-enter our world.
Okay.
And our detective can only stop them by acquiring the help of his ex-girlfriend.
Of course.
Of course, because that's what you do.
That's why you shouldn't have broken up with her.
So yeah, you know what? It's just I just realized that basically my first 3 picks are all horror movies. That says something, doesn't it?
It does say something. Well, horror movies I think are hard to get right.
Yeah, it's just like the only thing I can say: don't watch this movie. It is such a waste of time. And just to drive home the point, so listen to this quote, which is from the movie. Okay.
Okay.
And this is just to show how shitty this is. So a bit of context. They are in a cave, and the character who is going to speak here, I think it's the girlfriend. She's pointing at some Native American text on the wall in the cave.
Okay.
And then she says, quote, "It's a warning. It says, once you make it down here alive, you're already dead." End quote.
What?
So it's just, I don't know. It's just like the most shitty dialogue I couldn't even make up something that shitty. That quote says it all.
That does pretty much say it all.
Once you make it down here alive, you're already dead. What the fuck are you talking about? That's impossible.
I guess it's supposed to be frightening, but I would have been like the grammar Nazi going, I don't know. I think you could reword this.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Please don't watch that movie ever.
All right. Well, mine is not a horror movie. In fact, mine is fantasy.
Yeah, I have a fantasy coming up as well.
Oh, good. I've got 2 in my list.
Oh.
So my number 3 is Atar, the Fighting Eagle. Have you ever heard of this?
That sounds really bad. I have not watched that, but that sounds really bad.
It's the perfect trope. The film opens, there's this baby Atar who has a birthmark, and so it means that someday he will grow up to destroy the spider cult. And so, there's this prophecy. So we got this prophecy, baby, birthmark.
Obviously, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the high priest of the Ancient One, he attempts to kill the baby, so the birthmark's covered up, and he's sent off to live in a faraway village where, as he's growing up, he decides that he really actually is in love with a woman who's grown up as his sister, and he asks for permission to marry her. And that's when he finds out it's not really his sister and he's adopted.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was very convenient.
isn't it? And that makes it fine, even though they grow up as siblings. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah, of
that's
course.
no. Oh, anyways,
Well,
so
when the hormones set in, what can you do?
that's right, teenagers. But obviously the king finds out about Atar. It comes and he steals his sister / bride, takes her back, and there's all of these things. Like he finds this warrior, again another trope, who's an enemy of this ancient sorcerer that Atar is supposed to be the one to take down. So there's all this Amazons are in there. This Amazon woman who wins him and falls head over heels in love with him, but goes with him to rescue his wife, bride / sister, and she ends up dying. Not the sister, the bride, she makes it. It is so troped, so convoluted. Everyone's stereotypical. You're looking at the only good part was that it was the spider cult, so there was these massive spiders crawling all over, and the evil
cult.
Yes, the ancient one, the evil sorcerer, was he was kind of interesting, but it's just pretty much, yeah. You go through it going, my head hurts. I mean, it's how much can you throw into
I have spiders
tropes?
crawling in my head.
The spiders in my head would have been better. I mean, it had no direct plot. It just made no sense. He kept tripping over things, and this warrior is supposed to teach him how to fight and ends up actually having been working for the ancient one. It was just, you're just finally going, just end it, please. And
please put me out of my misery.
why did we start this one? And yeah, if it wasn't for, the robots and Mystery Science Theater sitting there groaning themselves, yeah, you couldn't have made it through this one alive.
Oh my god. I don't understand why you watched so many shitty movies. Oh god.
If I'm just masochistic, I guess. I don't know. They were so bad that they were funny. And they get better from here. The top two are just out of the park. Horrible. I can't wait.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I have two left.
All right, let's go.
And this one is not horror, so this one is it's fantasy / adventure, I would call it.
Oh, excellent. All right.
Yeah, now you're paying attention.
I am.
It's also the first movie in a series which was actually one of my favorite series growing up.
Okay.
It was before streaming services, and I actually remember a friend and myself. We went to a gas station just up the street back then, and then they had like displays of movies that you could rent. And I remember it as there was a ton of them. There was probably like 50 movies or something. That was probably it, and you could shuffle through them and find what you wanted. And we had previously rented the first movie in the series, and we really liked it. And then we got to this one, which is the second movie in the series. Okay? So see if you can guess what this is.
Let's have some fun. In all their centuries on Earth, nothing could have prepared them for the Quickening.
Just the way they say the Quickening. It's just like, it sounds so bad already. Oh my god, it's so 80s. It's incredible.
It is. It's like, let's take a word and see if you can say it in such a way it sounds bad, even though it's like the Quickening. I mean, that sounds...
The Quickening? What the heck? Who came up with that? So do you know what movie this is? The Quickening is like the subtitle of it.
It's not ringing a bell.
It's Highlander 2.
Oh, okay. Shoot, that's been a long time.
Yeah, indeed. I don't think I would enjoy Highlander 1 today, but as a kid, I loved it. I thought it was so good. It was so cool, and all that. Well, it was pretty gruesome, right? He decapitated others, and then he got their powers. It's pretty bad, but I loved it. And then we rented this Highlander 2 from the gas station, and I was probably like 14 years old or something, and we went home and watched it, and I hated it. Even back then, as 14 years old, it was just like, it's a completely mindless story where the good guy fights the bad guy, but it's sort of just because, there is absolutely no point to it. There's nothing going on that makes any meaning in this movie at all, and it just makes no sense. And also, it doesn't add anything to the story universe at all. I mean,
jeez.
I can almost, it almost feels like somebody, maybe the movie director or something went into the writer's room, maybe at the point in time where they were all like brainstorming, what could this be? And then he just said, well, that sounds great. Let's take all of that and we're just going to film it. No reason to change any of it. We'll just go straight with it as you have it here. It's like a complete mess. Oh my God. You kill yourself if you try to watch this. It's so bad.
I remember that from the 80s, though. I mean, that's where the idea that the second, any of the sequels were always just like horrible, because it's just like they're like, oh, someone liked the first one, let's see if they'll buy a second one, and they throw in everything with no sense. But so it's not that surprising, but it is sad when they do something like that, especially to where the first movie wasn't horrible, though. Like you said, things have changed a little bit since you were 14.
I think it would be horrible today, but when I was like 13 or something, I don't know, I can't remember when the first one came out, probably a couple of years before, but 12, 13 years old or whatever, it was amazing. But don't watch the second one.
I'll keep that in mind. I mean, you have to remember, so you're closer in age to my husband, so I was a few years older, and by that time I could drive, and I don't know if I was watching bad movies at that time.
No. Maybe not. Well, then don't go back and revisit it.
Okay. Unless I really feel like watching bad movies, which, like, we've already agreed I might like for some strange reason. But it's so bad that you turn off your author brain and you just go, why?
No, I hate it because I feel like I'm wasting my life. It's like I'm never going to get this 1.5 hour back. This is just a complete waste of life.
I understand. All right. Well, you're going to love my number 2 then. You ready? This one's more sci-fi. It's called
I like sci-fi.
Yeah. It's called The Daytime Ended.
Okay. Sounds okay.
Doesn't sound bad, do you? Well, let's say the whole movie fits into the note that was in Wikipedia about the name, that the film was originally titled Earth's Final Fury, which that's a pretty good title.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was changed to Vortex because they thought it would sell more tickets. And the final title, The Daytime Ended, came around for no one knows why. Pretty much fits the movie.
Except for the Vortex title, the other two is pretty good. The other two are also fine.
Yeah, but I would not say that would not sell it. So this one, the premise is this family, a young family, parents, 2 kids, move to the Sonoran Desert, which is a very pretty desert, near their grandparents. And these weird, it's a supernova conjunction sort of thing going on. And then there's these reports about UFOs in the area. And the one daughter kind of has this telepathic connection to one of the aliens. And then the grandmother sees one overnight. Of course, there's lots of screaming and running, and they're terrified. And I think they see the UFOs, which are these horrible lights in the sky, and they run outside. I remember the horses getting away as well. They had a little ranch. And all the family hides overnight in separate areas because they're terrified. And while they're outside hiding, there's actually these giant monsters that come through, a reptilian thing and this other thing, and they're just battling it out in the Sonoran deserts. But then the UFOs come back and like laser zap the monsters. And then the sun rises and everyone gets up and they walk, and they're all together as a family, and they look over into the next valley, and there's this weird futuristic city, which I actually didn't know until I read the plot on this one, that it actually is supposed to be like 1,000 years into the future. I had no clue watching it. And then it ends with like the daughter saying, "It's all gonna be fine now." That's it.
Okay. And when was this made?
It's not as old as it sounds. I might have been the 80s as well.
So it's like horrible special effects and stuff like that as well.
really horrible. I mean, the reptilian, amphibious creatures that are fighting. I don't even know why they were there, where they came from, what they had to do with the little UFOs that are zapping through the walls, and these little space lights, and people would freeze, and it's just...
It sounds more confusing than anything. It's just like...
Yeah.
You even explaining what it was about, you lost me a bit there. Like, what?
There's no sense, and like I said, until I actually read the description of it to remind myself what it was, I was like, I don't see how you go from conjunctions, aliens, reptilian creatures fighting each other to the future. What? I don't know. I actually thought they ended up on like the alien planet and they'd been transported there. I don't have a clue what was going on, and some really bad acting and really bad explaining. I mean, when I think about it, horses in the desert already should have been a clue that this is not going to work out very well. It doesn't work very well for ranch situations, but yeah, no. So that one was pretty painful. Not as bad as number one, but it was pretty, yeah.
Okay. I think the one you had before sounded worse than this one, to be honest. But okay, so the final one on my list is also one where I loved the original.
Okay.
It's also one from my childhood, so it's probably not that good today if I watched it again, but I won't. But this is not a sequel. This is a remake. And it's from 2002.
Okay.
So see if you can guess what this is.
It's the world's #1 phenomenon.
I created a sport that you could thrive in.
And 3 players rule the game.
I told you, it's the promised land. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
What was that at the ending there?
There's just somebody laughing because he slammed him to the ground or something.
All right.
That might be a bit tough one to guess.
I was going to say, if I was going to make any guess, I would just throw out Mortal Kombat, but I have no idea.
No, okay. Well, that's not too bad of a guess. It's a rollerball.
All right. Well, I haven't seen the first one or the remake, so...
Okay.
All right. You also tell me about this one.
Yeah, so the original is from 1975.
Okay. Wow.
And I watched that when I was a child, and I really liked it. So rollerball, it's this sort of extreme sport.
Okay.
So they have like this metal ball, and they are on an oval pitch that just goes round and round. And then there is these holes in the walls where you have to put the metal ball into to score points.
Okay. This is actually like a fun game.
Well, yeah, it's pretty crazy because they drive like motorcycles on the pitch, and they hit each other. I think, as far as I remember, they had weapons as well. So it's like you can die from the game, and that was why I loved it. It was so cool, and then they had made all this kind of special gear and stuff. It was just cool.
Sounds kind of fun.
And then in 2002, some morons decided let's do a remake of that one. Yeah, that was a good idea.
No.
So no, it's horrible. So you have, in this remake, you have entire scenes which basically serves absolutely no purpose. So I just one example here. So just tell me if you think this sounds like good storytelling to you.
Okay.
So you have one character dragging another character across town to some sort of apartment building to look for somebody who isn't there, and you don't know why, and the person they're looking for is never ever mentioned again.
What?
And that's just it. They just go there, look for somebody, you don't know who it is, and it's never mentioned again, and then they walk away again. And you'll be like, huh?
Yeah, that doesn't work for me. That's
how
painful.
This entire movie is. It's just,
wow.
There's nothing in it that makes any sense. I don't know if they were drunk or something when they made the script for it. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Pointless plots, just pointless scenes get under my skin. So I wouldn't have made it through that one. I would have gotten up and done something else. I would have been like, I'm writing.
That was 5 very terrible movie picks for you.
All right, you ready for my number 1? Back to fantasy for this one. This is called Wizards of the Lost Kingdom. How's that for a title?
That also sounds pretty cool.
Not too bad. So I was excited when I saw this one on the Mystery Science Theater because, it sounds like, a fantasy movie. This will be great. It was so brain-numbingly bad in a series of bad shows. I mean, it doesn't even have a spark that made me laugh. I was so disappointed. And out of all of them, I remember this one the least, so I actually had to look this one up quite a bit. But it starts nice. There's a peaceful kingdom of Axholm, and there's a teenage boy, Simon, who's the son of the court wizard, the king's wizard. And this evil sorcerer convinces the queen to overthrow her husband and name the sorcerer, the ruler. And so the sorcerer, the good sorcerer, wizard, senses, realizes what's happening, and he's like, gives his son this magic ring and says, you must keep this at all costs and protect the princess. And of course, the princess gets captured. And what does Simon do? The son, he loses the ring. Like that. First scene, gone. And so it starts, it goes crazy. So Simon grows up. He meets this disgraced hero, Cor, who's going to help him rescue the princess. But Simon ends up rescuing Cor half the time, even though Simon doesn't have a clue, has never shown any aptitude or any training in magic ever until this point, until he's thrust out into the world that he knows nothing about. And so he's still saving the wizard. It's so bad that Simon somehow manages to raise the zombies of dead heroes to come help him rescue the princess, and the dead heroes get so annoyed at Simon they end up attacking him.
He does sound pretty annoying.
Super annoying. Everything goes horribly wrong. They end up getting some help. They manage to get the villagers to help them. They go raid the castle. Simon manages to find the freaking missing ring that he dropped in the castle and has been in plain sight since day one, even though the evil wizard can't find it. Oh no, the best part is then Simon, with the ring now, battles the experienced, skilled evil wizard who's been eviling.
Hey, is it just lying there on the ground or what?
I think it was I remember it glowing, like he had to see the glow. It was somewhere slightly hidden, but it was maybe in a suit of armor or something. It was so obviously, and it's not even where he would have dropped it. It was so stupid. But yeah, the grand finale, between the special effects and Simon the novice fighting this experienced grandmaster evil wizard and winning the princess, it was just such shit. It was so bad. And this sums it up really well. This is by the writer, Ed Naha. He says, I don't recall this movie was so much shot as it was beaten to death. When they whittled it down to what was useful from the footage, it only ran 58 minutes. Now, Roger, the director, had done a lot of sword and sorcery films, so he told a couple of the editors to pull all they could from them and edit that footage together. So now the finished movie has a 15 to 20 minute prologue that has nothing to do with the rest of the film. And that's my number 1. Beat that.
So you have 20 minutes that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie?
Nope, there's just these people fighting in this prologue about wars and the history.
What's going on?
It's just... And then they get to the movie, which was bad enough. And like I said, of all the things, he drops the ring. Maybe he should have dropped it out in the wilderness.
Did this run in the theaters and stuff like that?
I cannot remember. I remember there's this whole... No, actually, that was Atar had a huge issue about the name and going on Blu-ray. It was a little bit older. I don't know if it was in B-rated theaters or something, but it was a cinema movie, yeah. It had ratings. You can look it up on I can't remember what it's called. But
IMDb?
Yes, IMDb. It's there.
Oh my God.
It was...
What was it called again?
It was called The Wizards of the Lost Kingdom. See, I have you interested in this one now.
The Wizards of the Lost
Kingdom.
Now I have to look it up.
You have to look it up. It's just... And there's a sequel, and I watched the sequel too, and that one is even worse, but I didn't want to go there. I can't
it's from
even
85.
See, it's not that old. Well, comparatively.
Oh my god. Yeah, it has 2.8 out of 10 rating.
I win this one with that movie. It is so horrible. It's bad tropes, bad acting, just bad. So bad.
But how I still don't understand. So you're watching 20 minutes of a sort of intro stuff where people are just fighting. You have no idea what's going on.
Well, there's a voiceover saying the history of the kingdom. There was wars, and then and then this good king rose and righted all the country's wrongs, and he has his noble wizard and the daughter in marriage. And oh look, there's the evil wizard who wants to overthrow everything.
For 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes.
And then all of a sudden it just starts with something and he drops a ring in
his father's
basically plain sight or something. And then runs off doing all kinds of things to figure out that it's right there where he left in the beginning.
Yeah. And the evil sorcerer who has taken over the castle can't find it, even though it's like right at his feet.
What's the point?
I don't know if there was one other than he was an evil there was an evil sorceress who took over, and then there was Simon who wanted to save everyone.
Simon says I'm an idiot, but I mean, the people writing this must have had some sort of story they wanted to tell us. I mean, what is the point?
I think you might be expecting too much. I would have to go ask Ed Naha, who said, it was the director's fault who turned it into the mush pit that it became.
But did they go into the kindergarten and say, hey, can any of you kids direct a movie for us?
Probably.
Just like, sure, I can.
It was painful. And again, a lot of it comes down to the tropes and no plot. And it was so...
Oh my God.
So stupid. I mean... If you're going to lose the magic ring, seriously, at the sorcerer's feet and he can't find it. And then the battle between the two of them and he wins. I'm sorry, he would have been toast like that. No. So anyway, I think I won. You don't want to admit it, but it's true. I know it is.
I think actually that might be the worst one.
It
sounds
was
so
the
bad.
worst out of 14 really bad movies.
A 20-minute intro, I just can't. I can't even imagine ever seeing it. I mean, all these other movies that I had, they are really shitty, but they don't have a 20-minute pointless intro for nothing.
This one does.
Come on. That's
just
incredible.
To make it long enough to put it in theaters.
That's incredible.
Isn't it?
Jesus, imagine those people buying a ticket, how upset they're gonna be afterwards. It's just like, what the heck was this? Did I just pay for this shit?
I was expecting a bad movie and I was disappointed because it was so bad it wasn't even funny. I mean, some of the other ones were like, oh, let's do shots every time they say this or something. This was just really bad.
Okay, I'll give you this one. Even though I had to deduct points from you, you insta-crossed the finish line before me.
All right.
Awesome. It was. I don't admit a major defeat, just a slight small one.
Oh, well, I will be gracious in my winning.
So
and accept
I
that.
think that will probably put us at like 10-1 or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I have 10 and you have 1. I understand.
No, the other way around. Because I'm sure we already recorded 11 podcasts about alternating lists, so I must be up 10-1 now.
I will have to go check. Or the listeners, you can let us know who's winning. I'm pretty sure it's me. I trust them.
Just this one, yes. But overall, there's a clear difference. So, we'll be back to this crazy stuff again next month, and then I'll need to pull a win back home again. So,
try.
Yeah. But I was wondering, in closing off here, is there any serious, for just 1 second, is there any serious learnings one can take from all this nightmarish shit that we've just been through?
Don't use stereotypical characters. It's okay if you use tropes. Everyone uses tropes. You should break them or twist them. That helps. But make characters that are original. That's really where the heart of the story lies. All of the ones I listed had tropes, which is bad enough, but characters, I mean, Texas cowboy, Mexican love interest, Tyrannosaur. Come up with real characters that, the reader's going to care about. And then if you want to have a love triangle, have a love triangle. Just don't throw in the Tyrannosaur.
Yeah, and tropes pull the audience in. So,
yes,
I mean, I think it proves that it works, right? I mean, if you align it with tropes, people will start checking it out. You say, oh, this looks interesting, because it's something they recognize. So it works.
It does
but
work.
Please add something new and interesting. And please don't just rehash what is already there as well. It does not make it any better. And I'm looking at you, Marvel. Get your shit together.
A warning, you have been warned.
Yes.
Good enough.
Okay, cool. Next Monday, we will be back and we will discuss something that is incredibly important but often overlooked. And that's the mindset you need to adopt in order to self-publish.
If you like what you just heard, there's a few things you can do to support the AmWritingFantasy podcast. Please tell a fellow author about the show and visit us at Apple Podcast and leave a rating and review. You can also join Autumn and Jesper on patreon.com/AmWritingFantasy. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get awesome rewards and keep the AmWritingFantasy podcast going. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.